welcome back. I'm Chrystal Rae, your host for And Then More Love. This is a podcast where we explore what it means to have a meaningful existence, what it means to live a more loving life, and to make it something that's actually practical and doable. So I am so excited to be here with you today. Our last podcast, we spoke about choice, and I want to continue on that theme today. We explored in our first episode what it means to have a meaningful existence and how to make choices as a liberated being, a sentient being given total autonomy. So we explored that in our last episode, but in this episode, I really want to take you into the nitty-gritty. I want to talk about how to bring that into real life. So the idea that whatever we choose has a rippling effect and creates and dissolves universes is profound. And so we know that if our choices are based in fear, then we will have a ripple that is based in fear. However, if our choices are based in love, then the same is also true. So in other words, if I plant a rose seed, I get a rose. Whereas if I plant a weed, I get a weed. So this is wonderful concepts, and I think that we can all intellectually kind of gather that and understand that in a loving universe, in a magnetic universe, is what we choose matters because it shifts the energetic resonance of our life and brings different possible realities towards us. And of course, there is the grace factor where we have spiritual beings, angels, guides, the divine presence of the universe helping us to find the right path, make the right choices, but ultimately it's our choice. So in the context of making the most loving choice possible in each moment, I like to talk about how difficult that can be sometimes. Because even if we intellectually and spiritually and emotionally know this, as human beings, we are flawed, broken, beautiful, and wonderful all at the same time, meaning that we get to feel all of our emotions. And sometimes life can be extremely trying. It can be so hard just to get out of bed sometimes. It can be like the dark night of the soul. Like in an instant, something tragic can happen and your entire life changes. You lose someone you love. You have a big disappointment, a betrayal. You find out some condition in your body or any other tragic event that happens in your life. And though we know that in the divine orchestration of the universe, everything happens for us and not to us, it can be a lot to handle. And so the question that I get from a lot of my students is like, I understand this intellectually and even spiritually I understand it, but it's so hard to implement. How do I do this? And that's not an easy question to answer, but I want to give you some road maps to explore and discover pathways that work for you, because we're all individuated beings, and what works for one person may not work for the other. But here's a general concept that I want you to understand before we get into the pathways, is that when there is a huge shift in energy, a disappointment, a tragedy, a big change, an unexpected change, whether it's good or bad, there is something really profound that has to happen. Like there's like a sudden, it's almost like a bleep in the matrix. Like there's a sudden shift. My belief is that, and my knowing from my own personal experience, is that when this happens, you are ready for a big shift spiritually. And so these things happen for you and not to you. And it can be extremely trying, even if it's wonderful, because the limited possibilities are so unexpected, and suddenly you're on a new course, and it's adventure, it's an adventure, and into the unknown, into the realm of the nebulous, and so the question is how to navigate these flooding emotions that come in. So I want to talk a little bit about energy first. So energy is just energy. It's neutral. And we give it the polarity by attaching a story to it. So for example, if something tragic happens, that energy may move in a negative direction or a downward spiral. Whereas that neutral energy, if something wonderful happens, will suddenly shift toward a positive polarity or an upward spiral. And these are just concepts to understand as we talk about what is going to happen. Let's take the first example of something negative happening or something tragic happening or a loss or betrayal. Let's talk about that first. So I write about this in my book. There's an example where I talk about a young man, very excited, and he's getting a wedding ring for his fiance, well, his girlfriend. She doesn't know that he wants to get married. So he secretly buys a wedding ring and he plans the proposal. He's so excited. They come together and he gets on his knees and he pulls the ring out of his pocket and he's so excited to give it to her. And she freaks. She's like, oh no, I'm not ready for that. Oh my God. And she turns and she runs away. The young man is devastated. In that moment, it's like a dark cloud just came over his head. And in an instant, his entire energy shifted from this extremely positive energy to an equally extremely negative. So he goes home, he closes his blinds, he turns off his phone, he gets in bed, he doesn't shave, he's there for days, he doesn't go to work, and he's just in this dark, gloomy space. And then suddenly, there's a knock at the door. And he opens the door to find his girlfriend. And she said, looking deeply into his eyes, I'm so sorry. I was taken off guard. I was overwhelmed, but I love you. And yes, I want to marry you. And in that moment, there's a shift in his energy again. All of a sudden, it goes from this negative polarity to even more excitement because she's had time to think about it and she actually loves me and she wants to get married. And so his energy shifts. Now notice, nothing outside of him has changed per se. It's still a sunny day or a cloudy day, but something inside of him has shifted based on the story. So the stories that we tell ourselves are so important because energy is neutral. So when we have something tragic or beautiful happen, there is a movement of energy, but that energy is always neutral. So when we talk about love, love is the undifferentiated, pure light of consciousness. So what that means is that's that neutral energy, but it's not moving in any direction. It's undifferentiated. So the more that we can come from this space of not getting pulled to the highs or sinking into the lows, the easier change will be for us. And it's not like you're going to numb yourself out. It's completely the opposite. It's that you allow for the wave of emotion, whether it's positive or negative, to wash over you, to permeate your being. You have to many times take repose, meaning that you'll have to do exactly what the young men did, is to move away and internalize your experiences. One of the great things that I would recommend, though, rather than closing the windows and shutting yourself off and wallowing in your pain, would be to remove yourself from external stimulation by getting into nature, by taking walks, doing prayers, doing anything that would soothe your soul, taking hot baths, and really just reframing your story. For example, in the young man example, if when she ran away, the bride-to-be ran away, he could have said, I love this woman so much that I really want her to be happy, with or without me. And if marrying me is such a big ordeal for her because of my great love for her, then I want her to be happy. And yes, I'm willing to feel a little bit of heartache and sorrow because of this great love. And so that would have shifted it from poor, pitiful me, victim energy, dark spiral, close the windows, sink into bed, don't shave, don't eat, all that, to I get to love. I get to let my heart break 1,000 times every day so that I learn to love more fully. And it's such a gift to love in this way. Now, here's the thing I want to say about that. It's not easy. Okay, so if this is a challenge for you and you find yourself getting pulled back into the negative vortex again and again, give yourself grace. Allow for that. Allow for whatever has to happen, because what you don't want to do is repress that energy. Because if you do repress it, at some point it's going to build up, and like a champagne bottle that's been shaken, it's going to explode. So Allow for yourself to have grace, to feel all your feelings, to cry all your tears, to laugh all your laughter, and then reframe your story. Move on with your life in small ways. You don't have to leap over tall buildings in a single bound, but in small ways. Buy yourself flowers, take a walk in nature, call a good friend that always makes you feel better, watch funny movies, do whatever it is that you can do to lift your energy. Say your prayers, go to church, whatever it is for you that lifts your energy, do that for yourself. Reframe your story and then trust. Trust is the next thing I want to talk about. You have to trust in a divinity greater than yourself, because you really truthfully can't control anything in your lives. The illusion of control is there, but when you think about it, we control nothing. We set our intention even to walk to the bathroom. The phone rings, you answer the phone, or you trip over something, or you spill the milk, whatever happens, your intention was to go to the bathroom. You don't know whether you're going to make it there or not. In fact, you don't know that you will be alive 1 more minute, 2 more minutes, 1 more day, 1 more year, 10 more years. It's not in your hands. And so when you let go of the need for things to be other than they are, and you learn to trust in the divinity, the divine order of the universe is far greater than the small energy that's encapsulated in this particular expression of self, then you are incorporating a force far greater than yourself. So asking your angels, your guides, your mentors, seen and unseen, for assistance opens the door so that they can help you to help yourself. And again, it's always your choice. So these are some tips that I wanted to share with you because I know change can be extremely difficult. And I also want to say before we conclude today that I'm sorry for what you're going through, that I know how painful it is, but you are not alone. I'm with you, your angels are with you, God is with you, and there is so much love for you. You are loved far more than you could possibly imagine, and all is well in your life. I love you all very much, and I'll see you in our next episode. Have a great day. I'll see you soon. I love you.